All right, good afternoon. UFC Nashville this weekend. Corey Sandhagen versus Rob Font. We're going to have Lucrative MMA on here shortly, and we're going to talk about it. There we go. We got Nate Diaz in the background. It's Nate Diaz week. Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz tomorrow, Dallas, Texas, 10 p.m. What's up? What's up? What's up, Hulk? How's everybody doing? We're going to have UFC Nashville picks in a minute. We're going to have Lucrative MMA come on. Let me go ahead and get them on. Lucrative MMA. How's everybody doing tonight? Versus War Diaz. There we go, Digital Wookie. I like it. War Diaz. There we go. War Diaz. Got that done a couple years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. Hand painted, stretched. Nate Diaz Army, Nate Diaz Army. Let's go. I'm going to UFC Nashville tomorrow. What's up, UFC fan 69? All right. Jake Paul winning? No. Respectively, F Jake Paul. I hear you, man. I'm not a big fan of Jake Paul. Not a big fan. Looking forward to some great combat sports tomorrow night. Me too. Combat Talk Media. Let's go. I'm excited for. Let's see. Let's pull out the other phone. We got 3 of these iPhones. We got Jessica Andrade versus Tatiana Suarez. That's going to be a banger. That's strawweight. We got Dustin Jacoby versus Kennedy Nzechukwu. I know I messed up that name. Diogo Lopez versus Gavin Tucker. And then, of course, we've got the big one, Sandhagen versus Font. Come through almost Friday in Nashville before the fights. Hell yeah. What's up? What's up? What's up? Let's get people on. Let me just see who we got here. Let's see. Hold on, Hulk. I got a guy coming on here. So just a second. Hold on, Hulk Carlito. Let me get some business done first. Yeah, that's in Dallas tomorrow. Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz boxing. Wow. Knuckle Sandwich podcast. What's up? I like it. Knuckle Sandwich. We're gonna have James from Lucrative MMA. We're gonna talk more about Corey Sandhagen, Rob Font, and the whole card. That's from Nashville. What's up, Fat Boy? Fat Boy Cop. That's what his name is. MMA Kid. What's up, man? How's everybody doing? I'm just trying to get some work in a little bit. Hold on. It's Friday night. Beat the out of that punching bag. We will later. What's up, MMA Kid Network? Every time I say a name, make sure you go follow them. Ready? MMA Kid Network. Instagram. All right? Follow him. Main Event Metaverse. Wow, that's a hell of a name. Hulk Carlito. Follow him. He's a good guy. Who do you think Conor truly fights? I think he truly fights Michael Chandler. Maybe. Nobody knows, man. I mean, literally nobody knows. I make all these posters, because I'm a fan. I made one, BMF title, Gaethje versus Holland, Gaethje versus Holloway, Gaethje versus McGregor. But ultimately, I think McGregor will fight Chandler at some point. I think he pretty much has to, right? He probably signed a contract with the UFC to do it. What do you all think? We're going to get James from Lucrative MMA on here. Just bear with me. What's up, real? I'm going to go. Yep. Hold on. There we go. How's everybody doing? What do you guys got? Corey Sandhagen or Rob Font? I'm kind of leaning towards Sandhagen. What about y'all? What's up, Scrix? What's up, Scarlett? If Justin Gaethje fights Conor, who do you got? Wow, golly. Conor's been gone for 2 years, man. It's kind of tough to say. Gaethje. I'd probably pick Gaethje, honestly, guys. I would probably pick Gaethje. All right, we're going to have James on. Lucrative MMA. Let's go. We're going to talk about MMA picks. We may even talk about Jake Paul picks. Corey Sandhagen KO first round. I like your style. What's up, James?
Yo, Chris, how are you, mate?
Good, man. We're good. We got Nate Diaz in the background. He's
Oh,
joining us today.
he's fighting. He's fighting soon, isn't he?
He sure is. He's fighting Jake Paul tomorrow night, Dallas, Texas, 10 p.m.
Yeah. I can't believe
Pay-per-view.
that fight's going on. I can't believe
$59.99.
that's happening.
$59.99.
You gonna be watching it?
I will.
Have you got Nate to bring the upset, or you got Jake?
You know, yesterday Nate put $500,000 on himself, I heard.
Oh, I didn't even know you was allowed to do that.
Well, that's what I heard. That's what it says. I mean, all you got to do, James, is tell somebody, you know, in your family to put the bet down, right?
Yeah, true. There's now some rules in the UFC after that James Krause saga that you're not allowed to.
Where is James Krause? Anybody see him?
He still has his case going on, criminal case. So I think it's a criminal case now. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, from what I've heard, it's gonna be really bad. People are gonna go to jail. So let's skip on to some exciting news. James from LucrativeMMABetting.com is on.
Yeah.
It's early morning in New Zealand. It's probably what, 8 or 9 a.m.
Yeah, 9:20 a.m. man. Just went for my little walk, got the sun in the eyes, and now I'm ready to go.
That's right. A little bit of coffee. Let's talk some MMA.
Yeah, man. It's
UFC
It's a good fight card this weekend.
Yeah, we got
I'm
UFC Nashville. Go ahead, James. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. There's a lots of fights we can speak about. You know, the main event is Corey Sandhagen versus Rob Font. I know a lot of people are going to be on Rob Font because he's a big underdog. But honestly, I don't see him getting the win. I think Corey Sandhagen is levels above him at this point. Corey Sandhagen is a slick striker. But not only can he strike, he can also grapple. He can also wrestle. He can submit you. He can take you down. We see in the Marlon Vera fight, he was mauling him on the ground, but he was also dancing around on the feet, wasn't really getting touched until the 4th or 5th round. And we saw what Marlon Vera did to Rob Font, right?
Yes.
And it's not MMA math. So just because Corey beat Marlon and Marlon beat Rob does not mean that Corey is going to definitely win this weekend. But I just think his skill set allows for so much more mistakes in his game, right? Like Rob Font is, at the end of the day, he's a boxer. He's a very, very good fighter, but really all he has in his tool set for Corey to decipher is the boxing. Once Corey gets through his boxing, then what else is there? There's nothing else left, right? So I don't think it's a very hard puzzle for Corey to solve. And when he solves it, I think he's going to hurt Rob Font. You know, we've seen Rob Font's eye, and yeah, we've seen Rob Font's eye bust up in like the last 2 or 3 fights. Even his last fight against Adrian Yanez obviously got knocked out in that fight, right? But the fight only went on for 2 minutes, and Rob Font's eye was still puffed out there. So even in a win, in a fight that didn't even go into the 3rd minute, his eye is still swollen up. So I think he's got a problem with that eye. And 5 rounds against Corey Sandhagen, you best believe he's going to touch that eye. I think Corey Sandhagen's going to be the first man to knock out Rob Font. So Rob Font's had loads of fights and he's never been knocked out. But I think Corey Sandhagen's going to be the first man to do it this weekend.
Wow. There's your freebie, guys.
Yeah.
Right? Who wants that freebie pick? There you go. Snatch it up. Corey Sandhagen, KO.
I think so. I mean, it's 5 rounds. It's hard to fight against Corey for 5 rounds. And although he's never been knocked out, he's been dropped. He's been stopped many times. I mean, he's not been stopped, but he's been dropped many times. And especially in his last fight. So I think the human body can only take so much punishment. And since he's been dropped so many times, I think this is going to be the time that he doesn't get back up.
One of your guests here says, "Is that a lock?"
There's no locks, right? There's no locks. And obviously, there's a few people commenting, and they all know me, right? Because they wouldn't be commenting if they didn't. They said, "Oh, you gave out Poirier last weekend and De Lima." Listen, I make like 15 bets a weekend. Not all of my bets win. It's impossible to have 15 bets win. But what we do is win most of them. The ones I give out on stream, I don't know whether they're going to win or not. All I know is that my bets over the long term are going to cash insane amounts of money. You know, Jessica Andrade and Tatiana Suarez are fighting this weekend as well, right? Yeah. And I just did a post. Last time they fought, I won $10,000 on each fighter. I won $20,000 just on 2 fights. But I didn't give that out on stream. So the only way you would know that is if you followed me. So if you want all of my picks and predictions, And if you want to see all of my bet slips before the fight, then go to lucrativemmabetting.com and you'll make a lot of money with me. We're the best in the game by far. And I'm trying to surpass 100 units this weekend, Chris. So I've won 93 units in 2023 already, which is an insane record, which is all third.
Is each one of your new units a G or 3 Gs?
Well, it changes depending on how big my bankroll is. But at the moment, it's 2 Gs. So I've won a lot of money. Let's just say that, right?
Do the math.
Yeah, do the math. 93 units in under 7 months is a hell of a record. And this is all third-party tracked. So I cannot fake my record. You know, that's one of the things that you need to understand when you're looking at any tipsters, because there's a lot of fakesters on Instagram. There's a lot of fakesters on Twitter. Make sure that their record is third-party tracked, which means that it's tracked on an independent service, which is not owned by themselves or their cousin or their mother. They have to put their picks into an independent, verifiable service before the event, which is what we do. So you can go on betmma.tips/lucrativemma and find a record of all of my bets, wins and losses, including Poirier and De Lima last weekend, and also including Uros Medic as a massive underdog last weekend, and some other bets. Win and loss, all of my wins, all of my losses for the last 5 years. So it's impossible to fake my record. So you just got to make sure that if you're listening to a tipster like myself or anybody else, you do your due diligence before signing up with them. Don't just sign up with them because they show a bet slip. Make sure they are third-party tracked and they are legit.
That's right. You heard it here. I'm going to run down the bout order real quick for you, James. I'm going to start. All right, let's see. I'm going to mess up some of these names, guys, so don't mess with me. Ode Osborne versus Asu Almabayev. That's a flyweight bout. We got Cody Durden versus Jake Hadley. That's going to be a great fight.
That's a great fight, man. Yeah. Cody Durden is obviously a great wrestler. I think Jake Hadley has got his number, to be honest. I think the things that Cody Durden does well, Jake Hadley is going to be able to counter. So something that Cody Durden does really well is wrestle, right? Wrestle.
He's like a backpack.
He's like a backpack, and he also chain wrestles really well, even when he's not in the back position, from the front, from the side, from wherever he is, up against the cage. He chain wrestles really well, but I think that if he gets Jake Hadley down on the floor, I don't really think he's going to be able to sit in guard or half guard for 15 minutes. Reason is because Jake Hadley has a very, very active and very good guard. I think he can catch a triangle like he did against Carlos Candelario. I think he can reverse with whatever he has from guard, sweeps, butterfly guard. I think he can reverse with probably even arm bars and just grab the arm just to get back up to the feet. So I think that's going to neutralize Cody's wrestling a lot. And on the feet, I do favor Jake Hadley. I think he hits harder. And I think he goes to the body well, which I'm not sure Cody likes in a 3-round fight. So it's going to be a banger, but I got Jake Hadley in that one.
And I remember we talked about the last time Cody Durden fought, and you said he's going to get on his back, he's going to ride him out, he's going to get a decision. And that's how I think this one's going to end up. I think Durden, close decision. That's my opinion. Yeah, but it's a great fight. But good.
We're going head-to-head on that one, so we'll see how it plays out. But it's going to be a good fight either way.
Hey, and let's just put this out there so I can pay my penance. Because last week when we did our live, I said Justin Gaethje may be on the decline in his career, and I was wrong. And that's it. I said it live. I was wrong, big time.
It happens, man. Like, we're out here giving... I just did a full card breakdown of every single fight on the card. I'm going to get picks wrong, of course. It's impossible not to. I mean, I don't think any actual living, breathing human out there thinks that you can get every pick right. I mean, if they do, they have something wrong in the brain and they should probably go and get it checked by a doctor.
Yeah.
So we're just out here on the live stream giving picks out. We're going to be wrong sometimes, but I do this for a living, and more often than not, I get it right, which is the most important thing.
That's right. Moving right along, we've got Sean Woodson versus Dennis Buzaka, and that's a featherweight bout. Jeremiah Wells versus Carlston Harris, welterweight. Then we got a... Oh, go ahead.
No, it's a good fight.
Okay.
That's just a good fight. That's all I've said.
Just stop me when you want. Kyler Phillips versus Rayoni Barcelos.
Banger. That's a banger. Rayoni Barcelos is one of my favorite fight. Maybe not my favorite, but he's just such a badass, man. I mean, his skill set is elite. He's an elite grappler. He's an elite wrestler. He's an elite striker. he's just too old these days, man. He's just too old. And we got Kyler Phillips. I think Kyler Phillips is going to win. The only thing I have a little bit of pause about is that he's coming back off a USADA suspension.
Right.
So oftentimes we don't know how guys are going to return from a suspension, right? Maybe the reason they got suspended was the reason they did so well. So now if they're coming back and they're not taking those certain supplements anymore, how are they going to look? And maybe they have no confidence in themselves because they don't have the supplements they was taking before. Maybe Kyle, I haven't looked into the case. Maybe Kyler Phillips was a tainted supplement. I don't know. But at the end of the day, you just have to be a little bit wary when someone's coming back from a USADA suspension. But I think all things equal, I think if he looks even 90% of what he did before he got suspended, I think he takes this one. I think Kyler's on the upwards trajectory, and I think Tony Barcelos, although I love him, he's on the downwards trajectory, and I honestly think that his time is going to come and he's going to get knocked out again soon. So I don't know whether Kyler's going to do it, but Victor Henry almost did it, and Umar Nurmagomedov did it. And that was Umar's first ever knockout of his entire career. So it's not a good look getting knocked out by him. And maybe it was a fluke, maybe it wasn't. But the way Kyler throws heavy in the pocket with his spinning back kicks, wheel kicks, if one of those lands on the old guy, I think he might go down. So I love Barcelos. I know a lot of people are betting on him this weekend. I just don't see it, man. I think Kyler's going to take this one.
Next bout, featherweight bout. Billy Quarantillo versus Damon Jackson. All right, moving to the big prelims. Ignacio Bahamondes versus Ludovic Klein. That's a lightweight bout. Moving up to light heavyweight. Tanner Bozer versus Alexa Kamor. Featherweight bout. Diego Lopez versus Gavin Tucker. And then we move up to light heavyweight once again. Jacoby versus Ninjek. I don't know how to say it. Ninjekwu.
Kennedy.
All right, Kennedy. And then we've got Andrade versus Suarez. And then your main bout, it says catchweight, Sandhagen versus Font.
Is it catchweight?
What it says right here on the UFC website.
Well, the weigh-ins must have happened. Obviously, the weigh-ins happened overnight. And where I am, Chris, in New Zealand, the weigh-ins happen and I'm sleeping. So I only woke up about an hour ago. I haven't caught up with the weigh-ins yet. But I guess someone must have missed weight then, right?
I don't know, but I know didn't Rob Font come in late because Vera was hurt or someone was injured, so it was a late replacement. So they may have made it catchweight, so I'm not sure about that. We can look into
yeah. So, yeah, they've both weighed in at 139, which means it's at 140. So, yeah, you must be right. It must be...
catch.
Yeah, I honestly never knew it was a catchweight. You learn something.
You know, let me just say this real quick. You know what I noticed on social media?
Yeah.
You're a professional. I'm a professional, right? This is what we do for a living, right? You know, you can look at our cars, our houses, our bankrolls, whatever. It seems like every one of these people are smarter than us. How does everybody smarter than us? Are we smarter than at least one person, James? Can we be smarter than one person?
I think with the internet, it gives people a chance to have an opinion who wouldn't usually have a chance, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I think what the smart people do is they listen to the professionals and they take what they can from them and then they implement it into their own life. Like me, for example, I don't know too much about life, but what I do know about is MMA gambling. I've been able to make a living off it, so that's what I stick to and that's what I speak confidently about because that's what pays my bills, that's what's bought my house, my car, whatever, like you just said. But if it comes to illnesses or health and fitness, I don't really know too much about that. So I don't listen to myself on that. I listen to professionals. So I think the best thing you can do is you can follow professionals in each discipline and just take a little bit of what they say and put it in their own life. But I think people have too much of an ego and they always think they're better than the other person. But the smart people don't do that. And I think for the most part, people are smart. Or if they're not smart, as they grow older, they become smarter. So the smart, I know it doesn't seem like it, but the silent majority are the ones that don't make comments. And those guys are the smart ones. And those guys are listening to professionals. So I know it doesn't seem like it, but there's people out there. Don't worry.
I have the dubious honor of reading all these comments. And I read comments all day long. And thank you, Ben, for the update. 4 days now. It's been a catchweight bout. Thank you for catching us up.
Nice.
That's it, man. Like we got the card. Let's talk about let's talk about Nate Diaz a little bit and Jake Paul, and then we'll plug your stuff, and we'll go on with our weekend.
Yeah. So as you know, like MMA betting is my profession. Boxing is not my profession. So I don't really have a massive opinion on this boxing fight between Nate Diaz and Jake Paul in terms of who's going to win and breaking it down analytically. What I will say, my off-the-top thoughts, because I do know boxing, of course I do. My off-the-top thoughts is that Nate Diaz gets hit a lot. Nate Diaz is known for getting hit a lot. Jake Paul is going to hit him a lot. And Jake Paul hits quite hard. So already, if you want to back Nate Diaz, that's a little bit of a worry, right? I mean, he's going to get hit hard. He's going to have to come through some early storm. But he is a little bit gassy, Jake Paul. We have seen him tire in the later rounds a couple of times, more than once. I've seen him tire against Tyron Woodley. We've seen him tire against Tommy Fury. So I do think that if the fight goes late, it's a 10-round scheduled bout. So if it gets into the 7th, 8th, 9th round, and he hasn't knocked out Nate Diaz by then, which is very possible, as we just mentioned, I do think he may gas out. He might get a little bit tired. And if that's the case, then Nate could pour it on like he does every fight, right? Nate kind of wins a fight, kind of like Billy Q, who's fighting this weekend. He gets hit a lot, and then he comes back in the 2nd and 3rd round. So I think if he wants to win the fight, that's what he's going to do. I don't think he's going to technically, skillfully outbox Jake Paul. At the end of the day, Nate Diaz is not an amazing boxer. Nate Diaz is a great MMA fighter. And Jake Paul has been boxing consistently for 4 or 5 years every single day now. So I definitely think Jake Paul's got the edge in the skill set and the power. With that being said, I'm going to say that, I don't have to make a prediction, but I'll just make a prediction for fun. I think there's some value on Jake Paul's decision, right? Because I think Nate could maybe take some shots, but I don't think he has it in him to break Jake and finish him late. It could happen. I'm going to err on the side that it doesn't happen. So Jake Paul's decision is like plus 300. And I don't mind plus 300 with a fighter that I think is going to win. And you can only choose between decision and TKO. And if decision is plus 300 and Nate's a tough motherfucker, it's very hard to stop Nate, then I don't mind it. But I could see it losing with a doctor's stoppage because we know Nate, he's got a lot of scar tissue and he bleeds in every one of his fights. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets cut open and he's still standing, he's still there, but the referee stops it because of the doctor. So, I'm going to go with Jake Paul to win the fight anyway. What about yourself?
Nate Diaz weighed 184.9 pounds today. He competed his whole life at 155 pounds, except for a few fights later on in his career.
Yeah.
That being said, Jake Paul is just a bigger dude, younger. I'm just kind of reading some of these comments.
I can't see any of them. They're not showing up for me. I don't know why. Maybe I'm lucky.
Yeah, you're lucky today. There's not too many happy. Saying that, I'm a huge Nate Diaz fan. I don't know. I'm going to say Diaz decision or late finish. That's my pick. And I hope Dallas, they let him bleed, man. I mean, really. I hope they talked to the judges and said, hey, it's just a little bit of blood, and let it roll. Unless it's a nasty cut affecting the eye, or something major. But that's my pick. Diaz decision or late stoppage. And like this man said, I forget who it was, John, look what he did to Leon Edwards. He lost for the whole fight, and he came back and won the last minute and a half.
Yeah, and he almost won the fight with that.
A no time limit fight, he would have been champion.
He beats everybody in no time limit, right? He's the champion forever.
Hey, no judges, no time limit, no rules. Diaz wins.
Yeah, easy. Diaz always wins. So even when he loses, he still wins because he's got that to fall back on.
Well, you got to think about this, and give him some props, right? He's got Real MMA Incorporated, his production company. He's producing events now. He's doing what very few people have done. Anthony Pettis is doing it. Jorge Masvidal, a couple other guys have done it, but he's running his own MMA promotion. He's boxing. He's going to be doing mixed martial arts, maybe some bare knuckles soon. Big props to Nate Diaz on his career.
Yeah, good luck to him, man. I'm glad he's getting the payday he's always wanted. Hopefully he goes out in style. Hopefully he doesn't get embarrassed. He's going to take some shots. But good luck to Nate, man. I'd love for nothing more than for Nate to pull it off. I'm obviously rooting for Nate. I'm an MMA fan, so I want Nate to win.
And a little side note, Jake Paul will retire from boxing / combat sports if he loses. That's what he said.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll see that, right?
I don't think he loses, but we'll see.
All right, guys, make sure you go check out Lucrative MMA on Instagram, Twitter. Make sure you go to lucrativemmabetting.com, sign up, check them out. Let's see what's up. I mean, you got a new video on there every week explaining the picks, explaining the do's and don'ts of betting. It's not like you want people to throw a bunch of money around. You want them to spend their money wisely. And don't take them bets that, like your favorite fighter, if you think he's going to win, don't take that bet. Take the smart bets.
Yeah, it's one of the worst things you can do is betting on your favorite fighter. I go over all of that.
Yeah. Jorge lost, what, 150,000?
Yeah.
Put on
It's just silly. It's just silly, But obviously, these are not professional gamblers, so they don't know.
That was his buddy they trained with. Did you notice, and maybe some people did, but I noticed, Jorge Masvidal handed out the BMF title, and it was Poirier, of course, versus Gaethje. And Gaethje sparked Poirier, and Poirier is real good friends with Jorge. When Jorge put the belt on Gaethje, he just kind of flopped it on his shoulder and walked away.
Really?
There was no strapping her on, congratulations. It was kind of just put it on his shoulder, and he was like,
"That's good. That's a real friend. He had his obligations, but he's not going to sit around there parading because his friend just got knocked out. So that's good, man. That's what he should do. That's what he should have done."
So everybody, that's it. Tomorrow night, UFC Nashville, and then you got Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz in Dallas.
We've got some bets already coming up in a few hours on ONE FC, ONE Championship. They're doing a card which is half kickboxing, half MMA, and half grappling, or third. So that should be fun. That's on in a few hours, Chris. And then we've got the PFL, which is on today as well, where we have multiple bets on. I got massive underdog bets on PFL and on ONE FC because I love my big underdogs. So if you want my picks and predictions for those fights, sign up now. We've won a hell of a lot of money this year, over $100,000. You can go and check all of my bet slips on my account as well, so you know that we are not faking our record. And as I said, third-party track for over 4 years, so you can see my record for the entire 4-year period, which is, it's not really seen in sports betting. We're having an amazing year, and life is good, man. I'm just happy, and I'm going to continue to make the money. The bills still need to be paid, so every single week we're going to try and crush it. Every single year we do crush it.
I mean, just look at the numbers, man. You're doing great. Congratulations. And make sure you go check out James at lucrativemmabetting.com, and we'll see you next week.
Goodbye.